How's it going, and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Pigtronix Disnortion Micro overdrive / fuzz pedal. But before we do, I'd ask you to please like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you can be kept up to date with everything we're doing here. So this is the Disnortion Micro. It is a micro pedal version of the Pigtronix Disnortion, which I'll put a picture of up here. Which I've had before, and is a overdrive, a fuzz and an Octavia, but they've condensed it down in this pedal to a micro pedal format where they have the fuzz and overdrive existing simultaneously and controlled by one set of controls. So the first thing we'll do is take a listen to it. So here it is in a track. I've been really impressed with this. It's a real inspiration machine. Has an awful lot of sounds on board that can do some really cool work in a studio pedalboard environment. Because you have to manually switch between all the different settings with the switches, I don't think necessarily that this is a multi-function pedal for live use. But by twiddling some knobs, you can get a vast array of different overdrive / fuzz / overdrive and fuzz tones together. So in that way, I think it's really interesting. So to go through the build for a sec, it is an extremely high quality micro pedal. It's not very cheap, and it feels it in the hand. So the knobs are this really cool, like kind of like they have this rubber surround on them with these indents in it, and they feel really, really positive. Then there's a really, really nice feeling switch. The pedal is really heavy. There's a 9-volt pedal jack at the back, two good feeling jack inputs on the input and output, and then there is this small switch here which switches between serial and parallel. Is that right? Series and parallel. So basically how it works is you have gain, volume and tone. The tone knob is interesting, as you'll discover in the audio section, the demo section, because it's actually kind of like a high pass filter. And then you have this multi-function preset knob that switches between different EQ preset sounds for the fuzz. So basically what happens is the overdrive and the fuzz exist either overdrive going into fuzz in series, or else in parallel they both happen simultaneously, and the parallel sound kind of gives more of a sort of slightly fuzzy overdrive sound, and the series sound sounds like an overdrive going into a fuzz, and it's a really, really cool pedal. So I think that says all I really need to say about it, so let's have a listen to it now. Okay, so I'm going to do a few different things to demo this pedal. First thing I'm going to do is just set all the controls to noon, and then go through the different filter settings one by one, and you'll hear what the different filter settings do. And then I'm going to pick my maybe 2 or 3 favorite filter settings. Oh, and as I go through those filter settings, I'll go series and parallel, show you what the difference between the series and parallel settings are. And as I go, once I've done that, I'll go pick my 2 or 3 favorite filter settings, and then just show you what basically the drive and the tone control do. Okay, so here is the first one. Well, first of all, here's my guitar as always, clean, with no pedal on. The EQ is straight up in the amp. The bright switch is on because I'm playing my Quartz Source BV335 style guitar, and back pickup for the whole thing, and it sounds like this. And here is, let's check to make sure, yeah. Here is the no filter at all setting with all the controls at noon in the parallel mode. So it kind of sounds, it's weird. It's the first time you'll hear this now. To me, this is the epitome of what I'm talking about it being an individual sounding pedal. It literally sounds like an overdrive and a fuzz on at the same time. Really cool. It doesn't sound like a blues driver, and it doesn't sound like a tube screamer. It's its own thing. It doesn't sound like necessarily it has a fuzz character about it, but like it's like a low gain fuzz. Okay, and then if I hit the switch to series, you can hear it gets way more noisy, and it sounds like this. Great for those harmonic. Okay, so second filter setting is the 808 setting, or the mid hump setting, and you'll hear a kind of a low mid hump to the sound. Now that is again the parallel mode, so more the overdrivey kind of feel. And even though it has a tube screamery kind of texture, you can still hear that fuzz circuit coming in there too. It's kind of like growling. And then you can, if you go up to the neck pickup and maybe just wind the gain up a slight bit more, you'll get a cool tube screamery lead sound. You get the idea. Okay, so then I'm going to punch it into series, and you can hear it gets a bit more noisy, and here is a full setting of the 808 version. Really cool, big, fat, full sound. Really like it. So then I move on to the third setting, which is called the low pass setting, which is basically cutting off some of the high end, letting all the low end through. And it's also in brackets called, I'm looking at the manual here, that's why I'm looking off screen, it's called the Carlos setting, so I presume it's kind of supposed to sound Santana-ish. So on the parallel setting, on the neck pickup, not really mad on chordal stuff, as you'll hear here. I wouldn't really even think as a kind of an effect that's a particular sound I would be wanting to use. Yeah, it's alright. But on the series setting, on the neck pickup, you get a really fluid lead tone. It works okay. Okay, so then moving to the next setting, which is the treble setting, or AM radio. This I find quite interesting. So on the parallel, so more overdrive-y kind of sound. All the bass is gone. So I think that's a really cool effect sound. So say you were actually recording that riff. It's an old trick, but you could just have that by itself at the beginning, and then when the band crashes in, you could go back to, say, the 808 setting with the mid push, and it would give a really cool tonal difference. I think that's the parallel setting, so going to the series setting, it would even have more of a useful effect doing that thing, because it sounds really battered and almost, you know, amp dying. So okay, so then moving to the next setting, which is the mid scoop, and this is the muff style sound, which is really brilliant. So making sure which setting I was on there. So this is the parallel or more overdrive setting. It just sounds great. Again, you can hear that muff style fuzz combined with an overdrive. Switch over to the fuzz. Sounds pretty muffish to me. Really like that. I'll come back to that in one of my more favourite settings afterwards. And then we move on to the last setting, which is a low pass, which is cutting off all the high end. Which again, the back pickup sort of has this cool bluesy thing going on. So going to series, I find that to be usable again for a specific effect, but I think you could definitely like play a song with that live and it would work in a band context. Maybe not so much the series setting, but the parallel. Got loads of girth, sounds really cool. So what I'm going to do now is go back over maybe just the 808 and the muff settings, which are my two favourites, and show you what the controls do. Okay, so starting with the 808 setting, on the parallel mode, as you can see, that's all the knobs in here. If I wind the gain back all the way, pedal on, pretty good, like, you know, mid scoop or mid push boost. Now if we wind the gain up to maybe 3/4, back to the back figure. I don't really have much use for that. I'd be going over to the fuzz before I use that. So then the tone control. So putting gain up high and maybe adding more tone. Interesting. There's an interesting thing about the tone knob here. It says the control sets the cutoff frequency of the low pass filter on the output of the drive circuit. Well, that's complicated. Turning this control counterclockwise will attenuate high frequency. And it's got a really quite interesting distortion texture there. Interesting. Okay, so then going to the fuzz setting on this, again, starting with everything at noon. So here's the fuzz of the 808. Man, that's such a cool sound. Okay, let's see if the tone does. Wind the tone off. Really interesting. Wind the tone on. So yeah, it really is a low pass filter. It doesn't behave like a regular tone control because there's certain frequencies that don't get affected by it. Really interesting idea. Okay, so moving on to the muff now, which I think is second from the end, so obviously end and back one. So this is the overdrive section of the muff, so I'm going to give it a bit more level. Almost sounds kind of muffish, and then if I bring the gain up, it's really interesting. Now, what that sounds like is kind of like a overdrive version of a big muff. Man, this is a really, really powerful pedal for shaping like recorded guitar tones on records. This is really, really good. And that's all on the muff setting before I've actually gone to the fuzz, which is what you would traditionally think of as the muff. So over to the fuzz. Brilliant muff sound. I mean, there's as much or as little fuzz as you want with that big muff pedal. So, I mean, they're definitely my two most usable favourite sounds from this pedal. But certainly the AM radio would be a really cool effect. So yeah, I think what a powerful tool on a studio pedal board for getting different tones. Really impressive. So there you go. The Pigtronix Disnortion Micro. If you have like an overdrive pedal that is or the dirty channel on your amp that is your principal gain sound, and you want something in a home recording or studio situation that can add an awful lot of texture and colour to any parts you're doing, I think this is a great choice. I think with the series and parallel switch, it's almost like two separate pedals. I think in a live situation, it will do any one of those sounds really well. Obviously, bending down and switching knobs between different sounds on a pedal in mid-gig is not really a good idea, so it's a one-trick pony in a live situation. So there you go, the Pigtronix Disnortion Micro. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the pedal. And hopefully we'll see you in another video again soon. Cheers, take it easy.